sports to the lines, who's up, who's down. We're crunching the numbers, calling the plays, talking all sports in a big time way. Yeah, yeah. Spreadsheet Sports, let's ride.
Welcome back to Spreadsheet Sports. It is the 20th, 16 games, first official day of March Madness. It's going to be an interesting day. But again, thank you for coming back to Spreadsheet Sports. Let's get it started. And let's jump right in. Got some things I want to share with you. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with the extra commentary. As always, as we start out, thank you guys for comment, sharing, and subscribing. The channel is growing. I'm getting views. I love it.
We're crunching the numbers, calling the plays, talking all sports in a big time way.
Yesterday was a disaster.
Spreadsheet Sports.
I needed a trash can to put over my head yesterday for the stuff I selected, but I did see where my fault was. Being too critical. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean when I go through my record and I look at the market trends. I thought myself out of selections. Because what I literally last night while I was going over the scores, I'm watching the show last night because every night I watch my show. Not for the view, but just for critique. Like literally take notes and like production value, all of the above, right? So as I'm watching my show, I literally am seeing the trend of like who was the winners, because at this time I've already pulled all of the winners and the spreads and everything that happened. I've already had a chance to see that, right? And live in real time, I'm hearing the scores and I'm looking at the scores online and I'm like, I can't believe I took that. But if it's crazy, the crazy part is that when I look back at the show, I'm calling the winners when I'm talking about the games. And then I go and do something completely different. I don't know whether it was lack of sleep or whatever. I'm not making no excuses. I suck. Yesterday was horrible. And you'll see how bad it was. But very disappointing day in my performance, not in what I lost, because you got to look at it this way. When I lose, in regards to like the sports betting, when I lose, guess what that is? That's a lesson I paid for. And I take it that way. I look at it as an investment in my learning curve whenever I lose. It's just how much that lesson cost that day. And I love it. Because of that investment, the return on that investment is a better decision in the future, and I get to make that adjustment and move forward and be more profitable. So I love it. I actually love losing because of the lessons that come that pay so well on the other side. But yeah, man, horrible day yesterday. We back in the saddle today. I think you're going to like the games that I have identified for entertainment value, for money line, for spread, the dogs. You got some dogs. I don't think it's a lot of dogs today. I just think it's some really, really tense competition. Right now, you're probably watching the first game, and because I'm taping now, it's like 1:17, and I'm getting ready to upload this. So you're probably watching the regular game, the first game right now. Second game is coming up, and then you'll have my information as a good starting point for you to do your own research on the games as well. But anyway, let's dive right in and let's see what we got. It's going to be an amazing day. So let's get to it. Now, here's where I was telling you about like the market trends, right? And literally what happened on yesterday and like the different things that I was able to identify. So what I did see, or the biggest thing that kind of screamed out to me, was how with the dogs, it's changing. The trend of who is the dog and who can come out to like make something happen. Like that Utah Valley game last night. I almost had that. I had bought up the spread up to 9.5, and I had both teams scoring at least 67 points. So 67 point over for both teams, that hit. What didn't hit was the 9.5. I mean the 8.5. I chose 8.5. I bought it up to 8.5. It was 9 points on the dot, and they kept going back and forth right at the very end. But I was on to it. I was close. It just wouldn't have made sense financially for me to buy it up to 9.5, and I would have won the bet, but it would have been more bragging rights than profit. But anyway, that's what you deal with. I'm not going to relive last night. Last night is done. It's over behind me. We are into a fresh new opportunity of a day to see what we can make happen. Okay. But going back to the market overview, the dogs changed. The winners didn't. The winners stayed the same. As you see, that the line stayed the same. And remember what our parameters are, right? Our parameters when it comes to the winners is going to literally be at least 22 defensive rebounds or more, at least -1% defensive rebound difference between the two different teams or more or higher, right? Win-loss ratio at home or on the road, 72% or higher or more, 76 points projected, higher or more. Fast break points, at least 13 points or more for fast break points, and 62% from D ratings, and then at least 59% for my data in regards to what I'm projecting. So at least if I have those parameters, then that's literally what we're looking at. So you see that it's not changing. As long as you are literally putting that in, then you're fine. I mean, that's the frequency that I choose to try to identify people I want to look at, right, for entertainment value and make sure the game is going to be competitive, as well as I'm looking at it from a perspective of, okay, who's going to win, how much they're going to win by, who's going to lose, how much are they going to lose by, what are the other opportunities that are involved in here with points, total points, all of the above, right? This frequency allows me or helps me to identify that. But you could go a step further with the frequency, and you'll see that on average, like I'm telling you the frequency I use to identify games. But on average, if you look at how it has spanned over 8 days, they need to have at least 24 defensive rebounds, at least 76% in home or on the road ratio. Projected points needs to be around 76. That's about the same. 12 for fast break points, which is a point less. So it's really not that big of a difference, but every detail will help. Now, when you look at how we did with the dogs, right? What stood out about the dogs? You see some changes, right? The frequency I use is 67% on the last 3 games, 22 points from the defensive rebounds, -10 or higher for the defensive rebound difference, and 65% for a win-loss ratio at home or on the road, right? For the projected points, you need at least 74 points or more when you're looking for a dog, just based off of the market overview. And then the fast break points need to be around at least 10 points or more, 41% from D ratings for his prediction. And then for the ad for my data projection has to at least be 46% or more. If you can do all of that and then also have 46% for fast break conversions, then you're working with something in regards to identifying somebody and not really going off of the gut of, I think they can win. Like, that's cool, but it's only going to get you so far. But in this next section, I'm going to talk a little bit more about my record and how I performed last night, or how I didn't perform. I sucked last night. After we talk about this, I'm moving forward and I'm not talking about last night anymore. But let's dive into yesterday and get that out of the way. So as I mentioned, I sucked yesterday. God, this was ugly. It wasn't ugly like throw your beer at the TV ugly. It wasn't that. I didn't want to break any furniture last night. I just was like, I can't believe this. And I'm telling you, it was a sickening feeling to literally just be like having to look at that, right? But let's dive into it so I can just get this out of my conscience and talk about our games we got on the slate today. Um, as you see, I did horrible on money lines. I only got one of my money lines right, and that was a horrible defeat, right? Literally to go from winning all your money lines to only winning one. Oh God, it definitely affects your confidence a little bit, but we're gonna shake it off. Only got half of my spreads right, which was identical to the day before. I gotta get my spreads better because I've worked on my points and I've worked on the total points and it's working. It's better. It's good. I just gotta figure out how to get this money line back on track, and I probably will today. No, I will today. We're gonna speak that into the universe. I will. I have. It's happening. We're gonna have an amazing day with the selections that we have made. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. I mean, when you look at the parameters of how I'm doing with that, obviously, see, I took a nosedive when it came to my money lines. I'm okay with that. When you look at my spread, my spread bets, I'm liking how it's flatlining. It's giving me some consistency. I wanted to go up, but we'll take it. I need to make some adjustments there. I'm starting to see some cracks in the armor for my points. I need to make better selections on who can do points or who can get points. Um, Total points, making progress, headed in the right direction. Way too early to tell, but um, that's what we got. But we're gonna wipe our hands. It's done. We're wiping our hands with it. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's behind us. On to new and better and more exciting things, which is today, starting March Madness. Let's go. Let's go. Now, as we move forward, this is what I'm looking at. And I'm going to put this disclaimer right there. Obviously, I'm going to talk about the game individually, right? And then I'm going to also have this list. When you're listening to me, if you are, in fact, using my information to help you with making bets, again, not a betting channel. I understand what people do with the content, though, right? Which is why I never would put something together that's going to be trash. Like, I use my own content. Hell, literally, I'm using it as therapy in regards to trying to figure out like what I should do, because even after I release this, I'm going to watch it, not just to get better to produce more content, but I'm watching it because I'm talking to myself in regards to the best way to choose a game or not choose a game, right? But let's dive into this list that I have identified. Louisville's playing right now. VCU, I got winning. Gonzaga, I got winning. I also got Kansas winning. I got St. John's winning, and I got UC San Diego. And shout out to one of my other homeboys. He brought up St. John's as probably a sleeper. Um, I see it. I see it. I mean, they might be the team that nobody sees coming. They got to get past today, which I think they have a really good chance of doing. Um, this list is interesting. I mean, even after you look at everybody, like even with Louisville, the only problem I see with Louisville is the injuries they had, but they don't have any game time decisions. So they've been playing with those injuries. So the injury is not really going to be that big of a deal. So nobody recently got hurt. They're going to score about anywhere from maybe 75 to 80 points. VCU, I like them because they literally are going to probably do anywhere from 70 to 75 points as well. No injuries on the table. They're outperforming their opponent as well. Gonzaga outperforming their opponent. Number one in the West Coast Conference, representing. Injuries are not an issue because the injuries they do have are out for the season, and they don't have to compensate for those points that those individuals aren't bringing to the table because they've been gone for a while, so they've made the adjustments. I'm thinking there might be a lower scoring game, though. We'll see what happens with that. Kansas, dominant. Not too good in their conference, though. They coming from the Big 12, kind of lower down in the brackets. They got voted in. Let's take advantage of being voted in, right? But they're here now. Their two game time decisions does scare me and make me a little bit more cautious, but we'll roll with it. Um, we'll roll with it. I mean, it's one of those things of if they do in fact like play, I think it's a different game. I think if the two players that they need to come on game time decision does play, then Kansas dominates. If they don't play, I think Kansas still wins. If that makes any sense. Um, St. John's dominant, super dominant. Injuries aren't a problem. Those injuries have been there for a while. No game time decision people. You're not worried about any points that they'll make any contribution for. Again, we'll dive and pull these games apart. And last one, UC San Diego. I like them to win today. They're dominating in all of the categories against their opponent. They're going to get over 70 points. The books think it's going to be a tight game. That's why they got it at 2.5. But I don't know. I mean, the book also thinks that San Diego might lose. I like San Diego. I like San Diego. We gonna dive into that because that's gonna be an interesting game. I got another homeboy that's a huge Michigan fan. We were talking about this, and I was like, man, I hope that my bet can hit and you wouldn't win your team. The way that that would happen would literally be that my spread happens, and then his he gets the money line, and we can all be happy. But we'll see. We will see. But let's dive into this and pull these two games apart that I identified, and let's just see where these things go. Georgia and Gonzaga. Omaha St. John's. Starting at the very beginning with Georgia, you know how I like to get the day started, right? How to get the show started. Let's pull it all the way apart. With this game, Gonzaga screams out. You know I don't like to just go with my gut of something screaming out, but in the name of correcting what I got wrong yesterday and overthinking, we're gonna just literally use common sense here. I know common sense ain't so common in certain areas of the world, right? Especially in the United States, we got a whole lot of uncommon stuff going on. But um, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna say it plain. It's going to be staring us in the face, and we're going to go with what makes sense, not what my gut. See, that's why I made my decision yesterday. My gut. Forget that. Logic, numbers, pragmatic. Let's deal with the facts. So Gonzaga is a better record on the road. Everybody is on the road today. Everybody is on the road today. So disclaimer for everybody that's out here with your own data, right? If you're doing the same thing, please make sure to make that adjustment to make the change for the data from um, the perceived home team. There is no home team. Everybody is literally going to be playing in a neutral location. Take that into consideration. That's why you have to evaluate them off of their away record on the road, right? So with that being said, Gonzaga wins 67% of their games on the road. They got 62% of their roster are seniors and juniors, upperclassmen. They won all of the last three games, whereas Georgia hasn't won all the last three games. They won two of the last three. 33% of their roster are upperclassmen. That scares me. You also don't do well on the road. Between the fact that you don't do well on the road and you don't have that senior leadership, that focus, that discipline, right? Because the lights are going to be bright. I think Georgia doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell. And the reason is that they don't even come in, like, even with all of those, like, indifferences to Gonzaga, they don't even come in dominating any of the categories, right? They literally only coming in with a better defense in regards to points than Gonzaga, but it's not a highly dominant defense, right? Then you got Gonzaga taking everything else, and they're number one in the West Coast. And then on top of that, the math says strategically that it's 69% chance they win, 61% chance they win, right? And a 53 chance that they win as well. Even if you step away from the science and you like, okay, let's pull the layers back and see what they also do in regards to like productivity, right? Gonzaga is not to be played with, like They are a team that can stand on their own too. Um, you got to have a strategy when you come, and line up against them. And the reason I'm saying that is because they are going to come out swinging. They don't have like a real dominant presence in regards to like, um, I would say like roster wise, like the height or things like that. Like those are tangibles. Another tangible is going to be like how Gonzaga handles fast breaks, how they handle defensive rebounds. Are they out here hustling? Yes. Georgia, on the other hand, does hustle. They just don't hustle as much or as hard. So they're going to stay in the game. Georgia's not getting blown out. Okay. Even the books don't even think that. Books got it at 6.5. So they don't think it's going to be a blowout, but they also do think Gonzaga is going to win. I would have to agree with the book. I do think Gonzaga is going to win. And for that reason, there's some easy money to make. I think it is. I mean, they're putting up 15 points on fast breaks, and on top of that, they're getting around 23 defensive rebounds. I don't think Georgia can match that type of smoke. Just not going to be a good matchup for them, and I think it's just going to be is what it is. With this other game, Omaha and St. John's, obviously, we got injuries in this particular game. Their forward, Mr. Dunlap, is going to be contributing 6 points. Maybe he comes out with game time decision and he actually does play. That'll be actually in the benefit of St. John's, but they technically don't need it. And let me tell you why. The reason why, because when you pull this game apart and you really look at how St. John's plays versus Omaha, um, St. John's wins all their games on the road. Let's put that out there first, right? They got a 30-4 record. They lost games at home, but when they're on the road, they are a true dog, like a pit bull with rabies out here on the road. They won obviously a lot of their last 2 out of 3. 58% of their roster are seniors. In difference to Omaha, that has 62% of their class are seniors and juniors. So, okay, tomato. They're not overly dominant and have overly dominant upperclassmen, but at the same time, they have enough upperclassmen on top of a really good system, on top of consistency and doing really well in those categories. The thing is that right now, the boxes you can check off of St. John's are offensive points, defensive points, rebounds, assists, and field goal attempts. So they're going to shoot the ball more. They're going to rebound more than you. They're going to get more defensive rebounds than you. They're going to move the ball around as well. Their star player is giving them 18 points, Mr. Luis, right? In comparison to Marquel Sutton, which is giving them more, right? Both of them are giving anywhere from 20 to 25% in contribution to the team. But with that being said, with St. John's being able to move the ball around more, right, than Omaha, and on top of circulating the ball, you still got to take into consideration, like, again, I love talking about the hustle part, right? When you're looking at the hustle of these individual teams, St. John's is it. They're giving you 13 points off of fast breaks. They're converting 55% of either turnovers or defensive rebounds into points. Like their defense, the defensive points that they allow is ranked number 31. Like you just don't want to mess with these guys. Like they're not to be played with. This is why I think my homeboy is telling me that they may be the sleeper. They may be the sleeper, and they may upset a lot of people on their journey through March Madness. And I gotta believe them after really taking a microscopic look at what they do, how they do, and how they've done it. I think it's just going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a great game. But yeah, that's what I got. And I'm sorry, correction. They have won 73% of their games on the road, not 100. Okay, I got to make that correction. But yeah, I'm going with St. John's to win. I'm going with Gonzaga to win. Seem to be straightforward, staring me in my face, not trying to create some type of scenario. I think this is what it's going to be. I think you definitely can get Gonzaga a W. Do I think they can cover the spread? The data says they can. I'm not saying that they can, but I'm definitely going to take advantage of negative 260 and probably going to take some points. I'm going to probably take, if there's a bet for 75 points or more, I'm probably going to take that. That's going to be a good one. That's going to take me right over plus cheese as well. I'll probably, those two together, probably be like maybe plus 140, plus 150. I take that. I take that. That's a good start for the day. That's a really good start for the day. Um, let's look at the spreads. With the spreads, I only found a handful that I'm willing to entertain for different reasons. And when we go through the games and break them down, then you'll see why. I'm with Alabama State to cover the 31.5. I think they're going to lose. Let's get that out of the way. But I just don't think they're going to get beat that bad. You had to have watched Alabama State a couple of days ago to know what I'm talking about, right? Not a couple of days ago. That was yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, 2 days ago. You'd had to have seen Alabama State 2 days ago and see them play and see the fight that they got in them to really be like, they're not getting beat by 31. I think this is a mistake, a flaw that the books have. I'm going to exploit their flaw and take advantage of this. VCU, 2.5. I mean, I probably would go up to maybe 4.5, maybe 5.5, but add something else onto it that's easy total points, or either over 70 points or over 67 points for VCU. With Yale, I like them to cover the spread as well, plus 7.5. Even though they're going to lose, or there's a really good chance that they lose, I still see an opportunity for them to stay competitive. It is March Madness. There's a whole nother different level of adrenaline that these people are operating at right now, right? UC San Diego, like I said, that's the whole um, Michigan thing and how Michigan performed against um, how Michigan performed against Maryland gave me a different perspective about them. They got some fight in them. That point guard, he's resilient. He's resilient. I like him. That point guard from Michigan is nice. I gotta figure out who he is, but he's nice, and I think he's gonna have a good day. But I think he's their lead scorer as well. But that doesn't always mean that, you know, they got a lead scorer and they got an all-star. Okay, great. Every team has one. But I still think that they're a pretty good team. But let's dive in and let's pull these games apart and see what they are. Alabama State and Auburn. Yale, Texas A&M. All right. I get it. I get it. I get it. It's Auburn. However, Auburn is not, they're not Duke right now. Like I think Duke could beat Alabama State like this. I just don't see Auburn beating them like that. Not 31 points. Like, do you know how disrespectful 31 points is? I hope they come in and like really give them a run for their money. I'm not in a position to say that they definitely will, but I can't see them. Like, I looked at the points. You know, they only doing like um 50 something points for Alabama State. You know I took that. You know I took that. It's no way in the world that they're gonna do 50 points and that's it. Like, come on, that's an easy one. That's an easy one. That's gonna be in here pretty soon, 250. Um Auburn's gonna come in and do that thing. I mean, I don't really have to spend a whole lot of time on this game. I just wanted you to see where I was coming from in regards to them at least being able to cover the 31.5. I think they can. I think maybe they get beat by 15 to 20 points. 30? That's like them not playing a whole half. I can't subscribe to that. Yes, Auburn's going to win. They have a great record. Auburn wins really well. Um, Alabama State doesn't run well on the road. They only win like half of the games on the road. But Alabama State does have more upperclassmen. But Auburn has a nice balance of upperclassmen as well. So you see what I'm saying? Like there's that. Auburn has been on quite a little bit of a rest. And that's cool, but yeah, I'm gonna take the bait on that one. They're not gonna no. They're not beating them by 31. We're sticking with what do we say? We're sticking with the basics. I mean, Jalen Kiego is the only injured person they have. Amar Knox is given the 15 as their star player. I don't really have to dive into the Auburn makeup. They do everything a little bit and a lot better than Alabama State, but not to the point that I think they'll beat them by 31 and a half. No way in hell. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. Yale, Texas A&M. With this particular game, like I said, we go back to the basics. How do they win? How do they win? With that question, you got a team, both teams are over 50% when it comes to winning on the road, right? It's just Texas A&M is only 56%, where Yale is at 61%. Texas A&M wins the upperclassmen battle by a lot. About half of the roster for Yale is upperclassmen, which is good. They won all of their last 3 games, whereas Texas A&M only won 2 of their last games. What are some of the other things that may be a little bit different in contrast, right? Yale and Texas A&M, when it comes to the hustle, Yale wins that. And see, this is the part where it makes me a little leery about really going to Texas A&M, because how do I unanimously go to Texas A&M when they're up against a team that hustles more than them, that gets more points on fast break? Like, not a lot more, but just a little bit more. And on top of that, I don't know. I mean, Texas A&M does have one other advantage. They get more with the defensive points, right? Defensive rebounds. They win that battle too. So, those type of things are where I'm like, maybe not. I mean, you can look at the game several different ways. I mean, Yale is checking off a lot of boxes. They're checking off a lot of boxes, and they don't have any injuries. Like, what does the book know that I don't know? I want to go Yale, to be honest. To be honest, I like Yale over SEC, and that's crazy. That's crazy, I know, but I'm going with that. And this isn't me stretching it. This isn't me doing a gut thing. This is me live in this moment looking at the data. I think Yale definitely covers the spread. Yale definitely covers the spread, but could they win? I don't know. And that's why they ended up in this box. Same thing with Alabama State. Like, I was so torn over whether they could win. It's like, even though they can't win, I think they're going to be competitive. So I think Yale can definitely cover the 7.5. I think Alabama State can cover the 31.5. Should be really highly competitive entertainment games, because it's not going to probably go the way that they think, where it's going to be a blowout. I think they keep it tight all the way to the end. And that's what we have with those 2 games. Let's dive into the dogs now and really look at what's the fun, what kind of fun we have for the day with the dogs. Dogs that I have found for us. We talked about Alabama State already. We talked about Yale already. We didn't talk about VCU or UC San Diego. We didn't dive into them in more detail, and that's what I got in store for you. These dogs, I think, are a combination of everything. Alabama State is more so of a spread, no money line of spread. VCU, I think, is either they can win or they're going to cover the spread. Yale cover the spread, and it'll be a bonus cherry on top if they can win. I don't see it, but Who knows? Anything can happen. UC San Diego, um, they can cover the spread and they can win. I'm going to buy it up to 4.5 just because I think that that might be the most equitable decision to make monetarily. You still got points. I mean, I think I can see them getting 76 to 80 points, maybe 70 to 75 to be even safer. If they have a bet for 76, I would take it. They average 80 points on the normal, but in this case, with the different push pull formulas and probabilities, the data's thinking that they get around 76 points. And that's cool too. So that's what I have it at. But let's pull these two games apart because I want to see what we're working with for those. VCU BYU. I'm torn on this game. I'm torn on this game, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's almost like the ultimate sin of never, never, never bet on the team that you like. Now, I ain't became a whole BYU fan and gonna buy some tickets and a plane ticket to go to a game. However, it's on my list to it's on my to-do list to go see a game. It's definitely on my list to go ahead and at least get a hat or a jersey or something, a t-shirt, to show my support and my appreciation for BYU. They've made me, oh God, BYU has been amazing for me. Um, this had to be like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. BYU pulled off something amazing, amazing. Everybody told me it couldn't happen. Everybody told me it wouldn't happen, and I called it. I called it on my show, and of course, I was talking shit the next day. Um, Supposed to. Um, the data showed me that in this matchup, the data showing me that BYU has a chance to win here too. BYU has a chance to win here too. However, VCU, it has its reasons of why I think it's VCU. Mainly because of the defensive points, right, and the rebounds. That's what screams out to me because that's going to ultimately give VCU some opportunities, right? But what you also going to see is that both of these teams are hustlers. This probably going to be the most, I won't say the most entertaining. It's going to probably have a high volume of like aggressive physical behavior. I don't see it not being that. It's definitely not going to disappoint us in that fashion. Um, VCU, they given 13 points in fast breaks, right? Where BYU is given 10. Both of them are converting over half of their fast break point conversions, right? So when they do a fast break, more than likely half of the time they do it. Like if they don't get it this time, they're going to get it the next time. Like they literally are like that. They both operate that way. Um, Like I said, VCU is just coming in with a much better defense where BYU doesn't. Like BYU doesn't even, it's not even that BYU is not coming in with as good of a defense as VCU. They're coming in with a much less subpar defense. Scary, scary. I don't know if it's game ending, but it's definitely to be noticed and to be acknowledged. Um, and then there's the injuries. So they got one game time person for BYU right now, and not sure how that unfolds. You know what I mean? Like it could go either way, but I still like BYU. I'm wondering, yeah, let's do this. Executive decision. This shouldn't have been the dogs. This should have been a money line. I'm going BYU on this game. I'm going BYU on this game, and I shouldn't because I chose VCU before doing the show after my research. But I just like BYU and how they play and the dog they got in them, and I don't want to take that away. I haven't watched enough of VCU to see what level of dog they have in them, but obviously they're here. So if they're here, they got to have some dog in them. They just don't do well in all the categories, or they do well enough. They do good enough in most of them, like, but BYU is going to make more shots because they're going to take more shots. BYU is going to move the ball around and get it to the fresh shooters. BYU, it's just they do a lot of good stuff. We're going with BYU. BYU, I know that they're not a dog. They are favored. I like them as a dog, but obviously I can't just pull stuff out and make it up. But anyway, next game, UC San Diego, Michigan. Everybody that saw the game with Michigan against Maryland, you probably thought it was all over with. But there was another part to the story. Another part of the story. And this part of the story said that they literally were going to put up a fight. And they Michigan fought all the way to the very end. And next thing you know, voila, bada bing, bada boom, they win, right? In the last weeping hour, the weeping seconds of the game. Great game. Great game. Michigan deserves to be here. Great point guard. He's very resilient. Um, we'll see what happens. Michigan, the crazy thing is that their not star player, but lead scorer is Mr. Golden. That's interesting. And he's a center. He's not even a point guard. So they play a lot of rebound, assists, move the ball around. I mean, the stats tell us what they do and how they do it, but that's how they use Mr. Golden. Um, their forward, Mr. Sam Walters, he's contributing about 5 points. Maybe you get that back, maybe you don't. Might even exceed not even having him. But either way, that's that. Both teams win on the road, decent enough. Um, you know, with that being said, and both of them having the same percentage of seniors, both having the same percentage of the last three games. So with all of that being said, it really comes down to the performance and how that performance is going to work out, right? With that being said, I like San Diego. I like San Diego for either plus 4.5 or more if you get a good price for it. Good price meaning no worse than no worse than 130. If you can't get that, at least don't touch it. Um, if you're going with Michigan, if you go with Michigan, I would just take the money line if I'm you. Don't go with the spread. I think this might be a buzzer beater. Bang! Like that bang that loud noise as they launch it from like right behind the half court line, and then the swoosh of the cotton from the net. I think we might see that today with this game. This might be that. It has all of them. It has all of the makings for that, right? Gonna be a good game. Gonna be a good game. Um, but I'm leaning UC San Diego plus 4.5. I like them. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the show. It has been fun. It has been an all-nighter as well. Um, but it's worth it. And trap in for the weekend. I'm gonna catch me a nap sometime today before in between the games. Um, but I'll be jacked up on Red Bull and whatever else I can find. Um, some candy would be good. I need some candy. Sugar high today. Um, it's gonna be a great day. March Madness is here. We've been waiting. We've been waiting. We've been waiting, and it's time. Get your bets in. Get your calling your PTO time. Um, whatever you got to label it, mental health day, whatever. Um, I'm home from the office today, like I'm in the lab. Oh boy, my staff know what time it is. They're like, he's somewhere going psycho with the data and everything else. But I'm just happy March Madness is here. I've been preparing for it, watching the season, getting ready for it. And this crazy thing is one of my friends taught me into really like going hard with college basketball. Um, he's a little mad at me right now for other reasons, but um, he'll be okay. He'll be back. Uh, but yeah, I'm glad he taught me into it. It's been an amazing ride. Next year is going to be even more amazing because of the models that I built and what's been customized this year, this season. It's going to be a great game. A great run per se. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy the games. Hope you guys enjoy March Madness. Hope you guys make a lot of money. Hope you guys um, just have a really good time. And it's the onset of the weekend as well, so you can't really be mad at that. Just um, yeah, hope you have a good starting point for your research. Again, like if you guys ever have any questions, comments, opinions, put them in the comment section. Let me look at it. People are responding. They're telling me what they like, what they don't like, things like that, and that's cool and it's really helpful. But as always, if you did find value in today's show, please like, comment, share, or subscribe in whatever order that you like that to be in. Okay. I see you guys on tomorrow. And from Spreadsheet Sports, I am signing out. Peace.